for this technical difficulty. I can't begin to explain what happened, but there are things that's running in the background. We had to close out more than one time. So I apologize, but I'm up now. And hi, how are you? Thank you so very much for attending this eProcurement 101 workshop. I am Pam Walker Smith, a City of Chicago employee for the Department of Procurement Services of 36 years, and my title is Project Coordinator. This is one of the most favorite things that I love to do, which is to present to you our vendor community on how to access our e-procurement website on in FMPS, enabling you, vendor, to bid on electronic solicitation. So let's get this party started. Our overview. What is e-procurement? How are you going to access iSupplier portal with online bidding? How to register if you have not? How to view bids and solicitations? How to respond to a bid solicitation, and how, if you have any questions, as Jackie said, please hold your questions to the end and we will be glad to answer them. I'm going to move the box out the way. So our mission statement, DPS is our contracting authority for the goods and services for the city of Chicago. We work together as a team and with our customers to guarantee an open, fair, and timely process by establishing, communicating, and enforcing our superior business practices. In 2017, the city's financial management procurement system, we lovingly call FMPS, accessed through Oracle, applies web technology for the acquisition of goods and services. The iSupplier portal vendor is the full service resource for you to do business with the city of Chicago. All DPS bids, RFQs, which is requests for proposals, and RFPs, which are requests for qualification, are now and forevermore electronic and are advertised through our e-procurement. In order to access the e-procurement portal, you must be a registered vendor to access the iSupplier portal online e-procurement system. As a registered vendor in the iSupplier portal, you are able to view and respond to bids and solicitations online, view orders, payments, invoices, past and present, update your company information, contacts, address, and phone number. In this method, we no longer have paper bids. If you are an elder vendor, remembering that you would come and bring your paper bid down to the bid and bond room in room 101, that's no more. Now it's all done electronically. And to assist you vendors with the transition to the iSupplier portal and online bidding process, we have developed the eProcurement website microsite. It is a website of a how-to manual for eProcurement. The web address is www.chicago.gov/eProcurement. Security. Your information is secure. The city takes security seriously, and we ensure all information is encrypted. We use the same protocol as most banks, as the banks, being HTTPS:/. Be assured that your bid solicitations are not visible to employees or other vendors prior to the bid opening. Your active bid is secure. Login and registration. For our first-time vendor registration, existing vendors with the city vendor number, you would click on the microsite requesting an iSupplier invitation. For our new vendors without an existing city vendor number, you'd click on New Vendor Registration. What is needed as a new vendor registrant? A W-9, a PDF of your W-9. If your PDF of your W-9 is not attached, we're going to ask you to submit that information. Your application registration will not be approved until we acquire your W-9. This screenshot is of the microsite. Now, the microsite is, again, what I call your holy grail. It is your manual to all things e-procurement. On the orange ribbon on this website is what you are to follow. If you are a new vendor and you want to register, you would come to the microsite. On the orange ribbon, you would click on login and registration. When you are ready to bid on a solicitation, you would click on current bids and solicitation opportunity. If you are stuck and unsure how to move forward or what to do next, you please look at online training materials. That's the spot where you will spend the most time. The orange other button is the delegates. That's for our delegate agency departments, to which I cannot speak to because we are procurement. If you need help and you want to reach out to customer service via email or phone, please click on the help button on the orange menu. Let me go back, make sure I'm in the right place. Also on this page, on the front facing page of the iSupplier portal, where you access that at www.cityofchicago.org/eProcurement, and you get the microsite with the orange ribbon, you know you're in the right page, in the right place. Here on this page at the bottom, we are listing our dates and times of our next training. So right now we're at 6/16. Our next eProcurement 101 workshop is going to be July 21st. Here, existing vendor registration. This page is pretty informative, okay? So for existing City of Chicago vendors, oftentimes we get phone calls from vendor community that says, I have a vendor code with the City of Colleges or CHA, or especially Chicago Public Schools. And they told me that if I wanted to bid on a solicitation for the City of Chicago, I can use my CTA vendor number or my CPS vendor number or my Park District vendor number to access the City of Chicago solicitations. That's not true. That's not true. We are not in collaboration with our sister agencies at this time where we're sharing vendor numbers. We don't. The only collaboration that we have is with Cook County, and Cook County collaboration with the City of Chicago is for MBE, WBE certification only. So if you are a vendor with the city, meaning that you have once done business with the city, you had a check prepared and sent to you from our controllers, and you have a vendor number, that makes you a current vendor, but you're not an iSupplier vendor, and you're unable to submit an electronic bid solicitation. So you would request an iSupplier invitation. What happens when you select that button is it goes to our customer service agents, and they will review whatever is the information that you provided to them, and then that creates a level 1 ticket, and then it goes to level 2. Another research is done again, and then when we find you vendor in our vendor database, then we will provide you access to the iSupplier portal because you have an existing vendor number. For new vendors, never done business with the city at all, but have an interest in doing so, you must register. So you would click on the new vendor registration button. Please note that when you are filling out your registration application, you must upload a PDF of your company's W-9, be it a non-for-profit agency, whatever other entity that would make you think, because this is what I see often from other vendor communities, that they may be a specialty, right? And they think that they don't need a W-9. You need a W-9. If you're a business and you have a business license, you have a W-9. And we're going to need that 9-digit number and the certification in order to approve your registration. So please attach it. If you don't, we can't approve it. Here on the orange ribbon, we're looking at current bids and solicitation opportunities. This page right here is very informational. We're telling you a few things. One, the orange button is for you to look at the abstract, and we're going to get a look at that. The blue area, which are links to our other web pages, this one is for pre-bid and pre-submittal conference attendees, which is very important for you vendors to attend to. We highly and strongly recommend that you do. The other is for non-e-procurement bid and solicitation opportunities. So what is a non-e-procurement? It's actually a paper bid. And why do we have a paper bid? Every now and again, we'll have a using department, maybe finance, could be CDOT, streets and sands, and their documents are so large that it impedes our ability to upload that PDF to a specific website. So we have to leave it paper because we have more agility on that web page that we can view those large documents. So that's why that would be where you would, which is most often construction. Our construction contracts are huge, when we have to add the books, drawings, and things of that nature. That becomes that portion, only that portion becomes a non-e-procurement bid. The remainder of the bid is actually electronic, but you'll recognize that whenever you bid on a construction contract. That's when you would have to look at the paper documentation on the web. Here, current bid opportunity. So every Monday, as Jackie stated, when you sign up for DPS alerts, every Monday, one of those alerts that you will receive is our list of bid opportunity, and we call it our bid opening list. You would click on the download the bid opportunity list PDF, and that listing will give you the current bid that are going to be advertised and visible online, and it's advertised in the Tribune. And on that day of advertisement, you're able to come here to the website and download the PDF and work on the solicitation if you care to. So it's very important that you sign up for DPS alerts, because we're procurement are giving you a lot of information when you do. Here in this example, we're showing you just a line on a stream on our website. You're on the City of Chicago's Department of Procurement Services website. The blue ribbon at the end, it reads what we do. What we do has a drop-down menu. There at Contract Administration, and you go to that drop-down menu, are all things contractual for you, the vendor, to see. Most important, all of them are, and they're all electronic documents. So if you submitted a solicitation and you have an active bid, then you want to look at the bid and bond bid tabulations, because the bid tabulation shows what other bidders have bid, as well as current bid opportunity. You can see payment information search. You can also see the pre-bid and the pre-submitted conference attendees, which is really important, along with the takeout list. What that means is, what I mean by that is, when you bid on solicitation, or even if you go, when you click on the solicitation that you may be interested in bidding in, right? You can see, once you click on takeout list, or if you click on the pre-bid submittal conference attendees, it's informing you, hey, these are your competitors. These are the same vendors that's interested in the same commodity as you. You may know them. I've been in pre-bid conference meetings and see that the vendors who do the same type of commodity, they know each other and they're talking, shop, I would assume. I can only assume, but I like to see the camaraderie in that. And with that being said, you're there to make connections as well at a pre-bid. Now, the takeout list is just that. You went to the solicitations portal and you clicked on the PDF, or you logged in and you haven't started working on your solicitation yet. You just logged in and you click on the solicitation immediately. Once you acknowledge, you're on the takeout list. And so you can go look at this takeout list and see how many other vendors may be interested in the same solicitation as you. So this is a chock full of information, what we do, and go to the drop-down menu and see what you bring. Here, this portion of the presentation is the eProcurement bid and solicitation opportunities button. That button, when you select it, is going to take you to what we call an abstract. An abstract is a PDF version of the actual bid solicitations that are active for bidding. So let me retract. It's not a PDF, it's the actual table that we have developed for you, the vendor, to see our active solicitations that you would be interested in viewing and or submitting a solicitation. This screenshot is going to take you through the logistics of the abstract. Now, let's go back so you get understanding. Here on the table, we have department name, event. With eProcurement and Oracle, the terminology changed. So event actually means the contract type. So this first line, contract type at event, is commodity. Program model we use when we have SBI, small business initiatives, or MBIs, or target market. The solicitation number, that's the number for your RFQ. The specification number is just that, the spec number. Solicitation title, the specification number always precedes the description. The advertisement date is the day that it is entered into the Tribune. The supplier response start date is the same day as it advertises in our paper. The supplier response due date, terminology change, this is the date of bid opening. So the date of the bid opening for this example was February the 17th. That is also known as a bid opening date. Our protected markets, again, would be if we were having a target market, a SBI, or MBI. Now, deadline for questions, very important, because the deadline for questions turns into an addendum. So if you, vendor one and vendor two and vendor three, have questions, when you submit those questions, they are compiled into one big page of answers, okay? So that all minds are clear and everybody gets the answer at the same time. So we compile your questions with your answers, and that comes in an addendum. Now, the details at the far right, where you see the glasses, you click on the glasses and you will get a download of the actual solicitation. With the deadline for questions, you must meet the deadline. So for here, this example on the first line, it says that the deadline for questions is January the 18th. January the 19th, we won't accept your question. You missed the deadline. So hopefully maybe a vendor may have asked the same question that you were hoping that you could ask. That's just a joke. But for real, the real side of that is that when you miss the deadline, you've missed your opportunity to submit your question. So this is a breakdown of what the abstract actually, it looks like in different format. We have a horizontal view and a vertical view for you. Now at the bottom of this screenshot, when you hit the eyeglasses, is the download of the solicitation. So it's all formative. At the top from left to right, you have your horizontal view, and then below that, your vertical view, and then below that, you have your PDF of your solicitation. all coming from the abstract. So now we get to the meat. Now you have registered, you got your temporary password, and you got the user ID. When you register, your user ID is always going to be your email address. Okay. And once you have registered, you will receive an email from Workflow Mailer with your user ID name and your temporary password. Then you're going to change your password. So then once you change your password, you're able to log in. So that's what the first screenshot is. After entering your temporary password, you will be directed to change to a permanent password login. So here's your login. In the middle is where now you have changed your password and you have logged in. Vendor, you acquire 2 folders in Oracle, ePROCUREMENT, FMPS. They're all the same. You acquire 2. You acquire 2 folders. Your first folder is the iSupplier portal with invoice creation. And your second folder, the yellow folders, is City of Chicago online bidding. Below that, the third screenshot is from the first folder, City of Chicago iSupplier portal with invoice creation, where you will acquire 5 tabs: home, order, shipments, admin, and finance. DPS does not speak to anything financial. We will talk you to sleep about a contract, but we cannot discuss finance because we do not do payments and we do not do receipts. The using department from which let the contract out are the ones whom we would discuss that with. But the admin tab, that we do maintain because that is the vendor's database. Okay, so here at the admin tab is your profile management links. So here you have company profile, and you can look at the organization, and that's where you can look at all attached documents related to your vendor record. Your FEIN number is present there, as well as your DUNS and anything else that you may want to add to your vendor record. Then you have your address book. You can add addresses. You can change existing addresses when you relocate, okay? And you have the ability to inactivate addresses if you no longer exist or reside there. Your contact directory is there. You have the ability, vendor, to add others to your vendor database and give them access to ePROCUREMENT. And then there are business classifications, and the business classifications are generally used by finance and or our OBM, Office of Budget Management. Here we have second view, your second folder, which is your online bidding. So for you, this is the juice. This is how you are going to come into the system and search for your RFQ, locate it, and then acknowledge. And we're going to go through those steps here. The negotiation screenshot at the bottom is blank. That's because you're brand new. You haven't started submitting any solicitations yet. You haven't looked at a solicitation yet. Brand new, just in. So that's how that's going to look. Now we're going to look at it. So here is the, now you're working. You found a solicitation. So let's just pretend that in this screenshot, you have one line because that you just logged in, you found your solicitation, you played in it a little bit. And so now right here, you have this row filled out with your RFQ. Down at the bottom here where it says publish solicitations, those are the solicitations that are available for you to view. So you can view them from here. Then there's the title. You have type, time, role, and responsive. And that's the important one. You can only see vendor your response, but the system is letting you know that we already have 4 vendors who are interested in this solicitation. That's what that means. Here, now, let me see, how can I explain? You're in sourcing and you have to search for the solicitation for which you are looking. Again, in eProcurement, terminology change. So title, that's actually the specification number if you wanted to search by spec. Number is actually your RFQ number, which is the number of the solicitation. We don't, by practice, use any of the other search methods being contact, category, line, or event. But that is how you would search from search open solicitations to the left. And then there's a drop-down menu. The default is at title. You're going to select number, which is the RFQ number, unless you want to search by spec. It's perfectly okay. So here, we search for solicitation number 8332. You must click the response button when you are going to submit an electronic solicitation. Because if you don't submit, if you don't click respond, we're not getting your accurate information, your contact information. We just know that you have an interest in the solicitation. But the respond button gives us also the information about you, the vendor, your vendor name, vendor that we can see in our vendor record, your contact information, phone number, email address, and such. So you must click, you must select first at the circle, select the RFQ, click respond, and then hit go. Once you're in the solicitation now. Here at the top, that's our disclaimer to you, the vendor. It kind of reads, not verbatim. If you have a problem of any kind of some sort that has prohibited you from submitting your solicitation, we are not liable for that. That's not verbatim, but that's what that means. Okay, so when you go into the solicitation and you come to this first acknowledgement page, please read it. And then if you're interested in wanting to continue on, you must click the checkbox. And then you must hit accept. So now we are here at the solicitation, and this is where the work begins. You have to first do all of the requirements. Now, requirements are for you, vendor, to inform us of everything that we are asking you to provide, because this is necessary for you to provide per the solicitation. These are legal requirements by the city of Chicago. So you must adhere to the requirements, and no white boxes can be blank. All white boxes must be filled in at the requirement section. If you do not, you'll get an error message at the top of your page. So you always want to go back, no matter where you are in the solicitation process, because there could be more than many pages, especially if there's a lot of lines on the lines tab that you got to bid on. You must go back up to the top. I highly suggest that for every page that you have to access, make sure there's no error messages out there, because you may think that you're doing great, and then you get to the end where you can submit and it's going to tell you that you can't because you missed something way up in the front. So I just suggest that you would, for every time you have to hit a save, that you look at the top and make sure that you don't have an error message there. But again, here at requirements, all white boxes must be filled in. Okay. Here, where in the example we have a white box that's empty, it says enter the EDS number from your EDS certificate and attach the certificate. So remember how for your vendor record and you want to register as a new vendor and you must upload a PDF of your W-9 here for in submitting your solicitation, you must upload an EDS and you must enter an EDS number in this field. You will get an error if you do not put an EDS number in this field, and you will be found non-responsive if you do not upload an EDS certification. Okay, so it's pretty simple depending on if you're commodities or work services, but vehicles and heavy equipment and like construction, it might get a little lengthy because they require more documentation from you, the vendor. In this example here, when you are going to attach your documents that we are requesting from you, you would click on the word attachment, add attachment, and here at title, you want to always enter the spec number first and colon, and then what your attachment is, insurance certification and or your EDS or your bid contact information. So whatever you upload, name it, and the bill will be received within your solicitation. Now here, this is your lines tab, and at your lines tab is where you're going to, these are the lines in which you're bidding on, that formerly also known as the proposal pages, right? Because now it's not paper, not named proposal pages, it's named lines. And so for construction and vehicles and heavy equipment, could be groups, lots and lots of lines, but in this example, we have 2 lines. The estimated quantity is always filled out for you. You will never have to enter that, but you will have to enter a quote price per unit. So whatever that may be to you, you would enter it here. The system will do the math. Once you've done that and you hit save, once you entered your quote price unit, your unit quote price, the system, and you hit save, then you're going to get a quote number, vendor. So now you have actually began your draft of the solicitation. You are not active yet, but you do have a draft and your quote number is present there. In this example, the quote after hitting save is 87026. And save and save off. Save and save off. This is our notes to you. Just a little to do, so to speak, for you to know and how we've grown since we have encumbered the procurement process. All responses must be bidded through eProcurement. Surrogate bid responses are not allowed. Surrogate bids are what is a paper bid. So you can't submit a paper bid for an electronic solicitation. It's not acceptable. Addenda, all addenda must be acknowledged in the system to provide that provided acknowledgement forms. There will be forms attached within the system when you have an addendum. You must acknowledge it. If you don't acknowledge it, you're not bidding. You don't acknowledge it because you may have you started before there was an addendum, so your number was 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the addendum came, and then it became 1, 2, 3, 4, comma 1. So that's what you must acknowledge, that I received this acknowledgement 4, comma 1, and I'm going to say yes. Okay. Responses. Fill out the PDF forms, scan and upload all attachments. Also, fill in total price and lines provided. So for RFQs, you know that there are no lines to be bidded on requests for qualifications, but there is a lines tab, and it cannot be blank. So for that, you would enter 0.01 and then upload your pricing sheet to the solicitation. For groups, all lines must be bidded on. Again, that's right there with no spaces can be blank. Okay, same thing. So all lines must be bidded on. You would enter 10 zeros and a 1. So that would be a 0, a dot, 9 more zeros, and then a 1 for all lines because they must be bidded on, even if you're not bidding on that particular group line, because it cannot be blank. In the event that you may need assistance, you can contact our customer support at cityofchicago.org, or you can call 312-744-HELP. Online discussions. Online discussions is something that the vendor has with the procurement specialist. You went to a pre-submittal conference. You met the using departments, project managers, and engineers. You guys had a great conversation about the contents of the solicitation and what's the requirements, and what it's all about, and what lines you need to bid on, and so forth, right? You got a question about it now. So you go to online discussion. You can't talk to the using department vendor. You can only talk to the procurement specialist who's letting out the contract for that using department. So, procurement services is the contracting authority for the city of Chicago. So when Streets and Sands send us a request to do a solicitation, you can't talk to Streets and Sands. Your questions and your dialogue back and forth is with the procurement specialist that is listed on the header, the first page of that solicitation. That's your contact. So you would come to Actions, Online Discussions, and at Online Discussions, you hit go. And then you come up with this screen. And here you're going to select New Message. And you see in this example, there's message back and forth. It's between the recipient, the respondent being the vendor, and the procurement specialist of the contract. Let me go back just so you be assured that once you click in New Message, and even if you have to upload, you can also do some uploading there in that area. But the conversation that you're having, this is where you're going to submit your questions as well. Okay, your questions are submitted via online discussion, and that goes on from there. But it's very important that you don't contact the using department. Only have your dialogue with the procurement specialist for this RFQ. Now here, this is the message that you're going to receive when you log in and you click on the solicitation that you last worked on. And then the first page that's going to pop up after you click on that, it's going to tell you, warning, you need to acknowledge this. Something happened with this 6196. It tells you that it has amendments that require you to acknowledge. And then, do you want to proceed? Always click yes if you're interested in bidding on that solicitation. Once you have done that, and you've acknowledged your bids, you will get a quote for submission. You'll get a quote for submission email. You'll get an email and you'll get a letter in your email. You get an email that we have your solicitation. The next business day, you'll get this confirmation of your quote submission with it's going to have the front facing page of the solicitation. So this comes to your email. So know that we are very proactive in ensuring that our vendor community get as much information pertaining to the solicitation that they're interested in, and knowing that you don't have a draft, that your solicitation is active, because in your response, you must be aware that your response status must read active. If your response status reads draft, that means you have not submitted an active solicitation. And if your response status reads requires resubmission, that means that there's an addendum that you need to look at. There's an addendum that you have to acknowledge. That's what that means. So you have 3 items in your response status that you must pay attention to, whether it's draft, active, or requires resubmission. Again, requires resubmission means you must acknowledge an addendum. Draft means you do not have an active solicitation. Active means your solicitation is active and your bid will be read at diligence. Here, again, for our microsite at online training material, this is the page that you will acquire. And on the left, it's about your vendor record, registration, and profile updates. And please, because you have access to your vendor record and you want to update your address, it's important that you know exactly what it is that you're doing, because on the other side of that, it comes back to procurement and to the data entry operators. And so what it is we can see your address and your contact name, and often vendors inactivate things that they shouldn't, like a contact name, or they inactivate the address that they were getting checks sent to. Instead of updating the address that's there, they'll inactivate it and add a new address, and then that causes some issues within the city between procurement and finance that we got to fix, so that you can get paid. So just be mindful of what you're doing when you're in your vendor record, that you're not going to do anything that's going to hinder your process from getting paid, okay? And if you have a question about that, please contact customer support and they'll walk you through the correct way to do that. To the right is the supplier response submission. So this is all things related to the solicitation. Any questions, anything that you might get a hiccup on, I promise is answered right here. In the middle, where solicitation bid opportunities, and below that delegate agencies, both of those things are out of our wheelhouse in procurement. We don't deal with finance, and we are not a delegate agency department, so we can't speak to those things. But you can get an answer to those questions about finance and or the delegate agency process by contacting customer support. Remember that the iSupplier portal at the online training materials be your best friend. And procurement's website, and go to what we do, your best friend is chock full of information. Well, again, if you have any questions, please click the help link on the orange ribbon, and that'll take you to this page here. So again, you can contact customer support at cityofchicago.org or 312-744-HELP or your online training materials. I do believe that this is the last slide. So this ends my presentation. And do you have any questions for me?
I don't see any in the Q&A panel, Pam, but I do want to thank you so much for your presentation. For any of you that may have questions, feel free, as Pam said, to put them in the Q&A panel at the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. I'll give you a few minutes as I talk about our upcoming event, which is our 9th annual vendor fair that will take place on August 25th of this year. We will be having that event at Malcolm X. It will be from 10 to 3. We hope you will have a little extra time in your schedule to attend that event. But that is a way where you can network with other businesses like yourself, as well as subs in primes, as well as government representatives that can help you navigate this procurement process with all government agencies, whether it's city, state, or county. We will have them all there so they can talk about their own processes that they go through, as well as we will be there from the Department of Procurement Services, and we will bring along a few of our assist agencies that will be able to provide information and assist you on a one-on-one basis. So with that said, I still don't see any questions in the Q&A panel, Pam. So I think you did an awesome job because they all seem to not have any questions for today. So with that said, I want to close out in basically saying we look forward to seeing you at the August 25th vendor fair. You'll see more information through the DPS alerts. Thank you for attending today's presentation. You know where to find our workshops going forward. So we hope that you will be able to attend more of the workshops. And if you are not able to attend, we also have archive recordings in YouTube at youtube.com/Chicago DPS. Stay safe, stay well, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Thanks so much, and thank you, Pam, and have a wonderful day.